So, if anyone watched the video called FAA complaint in regards to Mike Vapes actually vaping on a plane, I just received this in an email and I'd like to share it with you so you can understand the federal statute. This particular person, this lady, explains it very well and she gives you the actual federal statutes. I mean, I knew them anyway, but apparently she had to show it in an email. So I'm going to share this email with you. And right now, it's actually being investigated. Mike Vapes, and I gave all the private information to, as far as his private information, which you won't know, I gave all of that to the FAA. So I'm sure it's under investigation. They do not take this very lightly. What normally happens in a case like this is that Mike Vapes will get a fine, a monetary fine, and he can very well be prohibited from flying on any particular airline. In this case, it was the Delta airline. It depends. This is the FAA, and then the Delta airline can actually penalize him as well. So it can get very complicated. So my best advice to Mike Vapes is to retain an attorney. Anyway, so this is, it's called, the following number is S201906260001. It's from Connie Reimer, I guess, Reimer, R-E-I-M-E, or from the FAA. That's Connie.Reimer at FAA.gov. This is just sent at 2:36 p.m. on July 2nd, 2019. And it says Mr. was my name, but I prefer not to put all that, though you guys probably know all that anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I do that anyway. So anyway, it says, as a way of introduction, I am the aviation safety inspector who has been assigned to investigation your complaint. It should be actually investigate your complaint, but hey, not everyone's perfect at grammar. Anyway, who has been assigned to investigation your complaint. The following, so you could see that, she copied and pasted the codes, but some of her grammar is not the greatest, but she holds a lot of power. So, regardless of her grammar is good or not, it doesn't matter. She has a lot of power and as an inspector, and she's going to do what she needs to do under the law. So the following in the Code of Federal Aviation Regulation that prohibits smoking or vaping on board aircraft. And then she goes through the 121.317 passenger information requirements, smoking prohibitions, and additional seatbelt requirements. And then so the first they're talking about seat belts and things of that nature. And then as far as this 121.317G, it says no person may smoke while a no smoking sign is lighted or while no smoking placards are posted, except as follows. And then it gives the exceptions. And then as far as 2H is concerned, no person may smoke in any airplane lavatory. And then in 2I, it says no person may tamper with, disable, or destroy any smoke detector installed in any airplane lavatory. And by the way, these are her own highlights. These are her own highlights because she's trying to point out as to what the law is. I mean, I was aware of it already. It doesn't, anyway. And then in 2K, it says each passenger shall comply with instructions given him or her by a crew member regarding compliance with paragraphs F, G, H, and I of this section. And then it says there is also 49 United States Code, and these U.S. Code is Acts of Congress, United States Acts of Congress. So it's 49 U.S. Code 41706A that prohibits smoking or the use of vaping on board an aircraft. And so it says, in order for the Federal Aviation Administration to take action against a passenger who violates a code of federal aviation regulation, we need to have proof that a violation occurred. Often this proof comes from crew members or passenger witnesses on the flight. So they're going to investigate this, and I gave as much detail as I can, but because I didn't have the flight number, but they have the airline, which is Delta, and they also have all of Mike Vapes' private information. And when she investigates this, she'll go to the Delta database, pull up his most recent flight that he had to the UK, and then they will know exactly what plane he is on, and then they will speak to crew members or to passengers or whatever have you, because they take this very seriously, by the way. And then see what happens. He might have stealth vaped, maybe in the lavatory, and I'm sure there are cameras in there, and there are cameras on the plane, I'm sure of it. So they can very well look all of that information up and use that as also evidence as to support this particular investigation. Or maybe they will interview passengers or interview crew members if they saw anything that was out of whack, that was not ordinary, things of that nature. So it's under investigation. They take this very seriously. Regardless if it's a dual product or it's a pod system, here you have Mike Vapes on that particular video that he was on. I think it was the ST Vapes live stream, the live show. And he's giggling and funny and all this other crap. And meanwhile, it's making it comes across that vaping is okay on airplanes. What if the next person that vapes on an airplane is vaping with two 18650 batteries inside of a mod, and this mod so happens to blow up on the plane? See, you guys do not think correct, because you have a position. Your position is extremely supportive of the vaping experience. So that's one position. So no matter what law or federal law is out there, no matter how much common sense or reasoning is applied, like in terms of 18650 battery mod blowing up on a plane, believe it or not, I guess as long as you're not on that plane and your family and friends and associates are not on that plane, it's okay if over 100 people die because of someone vaping on a plane. And the other position people will take is that you support Mike Vapes no matter what. So you will find whatever excuse, denial, rationalization, justification as to be supportive of Mike, and therefore it doesn't matter if something like 18650 mod blows up on a plane and kills over 100 people. You really don't care. You really don't, for the most part, because of these extreme positions that you take. Hopefully, eventually, you'll be reasonable, you'll be moderate, you'll be tempered in your position, and then you can see things very clearly. And things that I say on this YouTube channel won't go in one ear out the other. In fact, it normally just doesn't even go into one ear, let alone going out the other. But this is under investigation. Let's see what they bring up. It takes a little time for them to do their investigations, but this is very serious, and this is no joke. So I just want you to be aware of it. They take this very seriously. You don't understand this. It's not only civil penalties can kick into place, which, let's say the investigation wraps up and they actually find enough evidence to take Mike Vapes to court, because that's where he's going to go. He's going to go to a court. He's going to go to a federal court, not to a state court, not to the small claims court. He's going off to a federal court. And what they could do is they can fine him civilly. He's usually around $1,000 up to $5,000. The minimum is usually $1,000. And or he could go to prison for up to about a year or two for this particular situation. So this is a very, very serious matter. And people don't understand that. You know, when Mike Vapes did that about 2-3 years ago, I let it go. I let it go. I knew it was wrong, but I let it go. But now he did it again. And he did it in such a way of giggling and ha 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 and hoo hoo hoo, not thinking in terms of even if it takes one person out of the 500 views of that particular ST Vapes live show, takes that one person, he takes a plane somewhere, he puts his 18650 batteries in a mod and it blows up on the plane and kills over 100 people. These are the possibilities that I am certain that you do not want us to have in the media. You're always talking about the image. You always talk about the media. How about if a plane is exploded in tens of thousands of feet up in the air? It explodes due to a vaping device and kills over 100 people. Do you think that would be a good image for us? You think the media is going to dance around that lightly? You think the media is going to say, oh yeah, well, it's just a little device, it's no big deal? You guys got to really think hard. You got to really get your act together. And you always wonder why you're being picked on and all this other crap. Well, you deserve to be picked on. You put yourself into situations to be held responsible to. So we'll see how this investigation goes. And so this is respectfully Connie Reimer, whatever, Aviation Safety Inspector, Cabin Safety, Federal Aviation Inspector, Delta Certificate Management Office. Delta, see? And then it says, in our continuing effort to improve the quality of service to our stakeholders, the Delta CMO would appreciate any comments you may have on our services and how to improve them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a combination of the Federal Aviation Administration along with Delta. Delta is a company in and of itself. Delta Airlines is a very good company, by the way. I love Delta, by the way. And they're not going to, I mean, I love the two airlines I really love are Delta and Southwest. I think they're great airlines. But anyway, the Delta Airlines are interested in this because this is going on in their own particular plane, in their commercial plane. And then you have the Federal Aviation Administration that is particularly interested in this as well, because you have federal statutes that have been violated. So anyway, I just want to share this with you, and I'll keep you up to date as to what the result is. And they may very well go and interview Mike Vapes at his house, at his residence. Absolutely. He will probably he won't probably tell anyone. And hopefully if he does tell anyone, he's not giggling about it. Part of the investigation will be getting in contact with Mike Vapes. It's normally how these investigations go. So let's see what happens. As far as any result out of this particular investigation, I will share that information with you guys as well. We need to take this type of aviation safety very, very, very seriously. We have to take it very serious. This is a serious matter. And if you don't, then you're nothing but an utter fool. And on that point, you guys have a good one. Bye-bye.